Every human being has experienced that moment. You wake up with fire in your heart, convinced that today will be different. You promise yourself that this time you will exercise every morning, read every day, build your dream, change your life. For a few days, everything feels effortless. Your energy is high, your confidence is strong, and every step feels exciting. Then something changes. The excitement fades, the alarm rings, but you no longer feel like getting up. The book remains unopened. The workout is postponed. The dream begins to feel heavier than before. And suddenly, you believe something is wrong with you. You begin searching for another motivational video, another inspirational quote, another powerful speech that will reignite the spark you once had. You tell yourself, I just need to feel motivated again. But every time you chase that feeling, it slips through your fingers like sand. The more you depend on motivation, the more powerless you become when it disappears. Here is the truth that many people spend their entire lives avoiding. Motivation was never meant to carry you. Motivation is like the morning mist. It appears beautifully, but the sun eventually burns it away. If your entire future depends on a feeling that comes and goes without asking your permission, then your future is built on something unstable. Feelings change, circumstances change, energy changes, but the path toward mastery cannot depend on things that constantly change. Life does not reward those who feel inspired every day. Life rewards those who continue when inspiration is nowhere to be found. The strongest individuals are not the ones who wake up every morning overflowing with excitement. They are the ones who have trained themselves to move even when every emotion tells them to stop. They understand that greatness is never created during moments of comfort. It is created in ordinary mornings, difficult evenings, and silent moments when nobody is watching. Those moments decide who you are becoming. Ask yourself one question. How many dreams have you abandoned simply because you stopped feeling motivated? Not because you lacked talent, not because the opportunity disappeared, not because success was impossible, but because you believed that action should only happen when the feeling was present. That belief has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. Your mind is always searching for comfort. It wants certainty. It wants pleasure. It wants to avoid struggle. It whispers that tomorrow will be easier, that next week will be the perfect time, that you should wait until you feel inspired again. But tomorrow becomes next month becomes next year. And one day you realize you have spent your entire life waiting for a feeling that was never meant to lead you. The person you want to become is not waiting for more motivation. That person is waiting for you to make a different decision. A decision to stop negotiating with your emotions. A decision to stop asking yourself whether you feel like doing the work. A decision to understand that action comes first. And the feeling follows, because the greatest transformation begins the moment you stop chasing motivation and start becoming someone who moves with purpose. Whether the fire is burning or not, motivation feels powerful because it arrives with emotion. It fills your mind with exciting possibilities, gives you confidence you did not have yesterday, and makes difficult tasks seem almost effortless. In those moments, you believe you have finally changed. You imagine that this feeling will stay with you forever, carrying you toward every goal you have ever dreamed of. But if you observe your own life honestly, you will notice a pattern. That feeling never lasts. It rises like a wave, reaches its highest point, and then quietly disappears. The mistake is not that motivation fades. The mistake is believing it was supposed to stay. Many people build their lives around this temporary emotion. They tell themselves They will begin exercising when they feel motivated. They will start learning a new skill when inspiration arrives. They will finally work on their dream when they wake up with enough energy. Without realizing it, they have given control of their future to something they cannot command. Some mornings motivation appears, and they move forward. On other mornings it is absent, and everything comes to a stop. Their progress becomes unpredictable because it depends on emotions instead of decisions. Discipline is different. Discipline does not ask how you feel before it acts. It does not wait for excitement or perfect conditions. It simply remembers the commitment that was made and follows through. While motivation says, I will work because I feel inspired, discipline says, I will work because this is who I choose to be. That single difference separates people who dream about success from those who quietly build it every single day. Think about the sun rising every morning. It does not ask whether the sky is ready. It does not wait until the clouds disappear. It rises because that is its nature. Discipline works the same way. It becomes a part of your identity rather than a reaction to your emotions. Whether you are tired or energetic, whether people encourage you or criticize you, whether the results are visible or not, discipline continues moving because it is no longer controlled by feelings. This is why the strongest people often appear ordinary. They are not constantly excited. They are not endlessly motivated. In fact, many days they feel exactly like everyone else. They experience doubt, boredom, frustration, and exhaustion. The difference is that they refuse to let those emotions decide their actions. They understand that emotions are visitors. They come and go without warning. If you obey every emotion, your direction changes every day. But if you obey your principles, your direction remains steady even when your emotions become unstable. Every meaningful achievement is built on thousands of small actions repeated over time. A single workout will not transform your body. Reading one book will not transform your mind. Saving money once will not create financial freedom. The real power lies in consistency, and consistency belongs to discipline. Motivation might help you begin the journey, but only discipline keeps your feet moving long after the excitement has disappeared. Imagine building a bridge across a river. If the foundation is made of sand, the bridge may look impressive at first, but eventually it will collapse. Motivation is like that shifting sand. It feels solid until life becomes difficult. Discipline is the stone beneath it. It remains firm during storms, setbacks, failures, and uncertainty. The people who achieve lasting success are not standing on emotions. They are standing on habits that they have repeated so many times, they no longer need to convince themselves to act. Life will always test your commitment. There will be mornings when your body feels heavy. There will be evenings when your mind tells you that skipping one day will not matter. There will be seasons when your efforts produce no visible reward. In those moments, motivation will likely be nowhere to be found. If you have depended on it, you will stop. But if you have cultivated discipline, those moments become another opportunity to strengthen your character. Every action taken without the support of motivation becomes evidence that your purpose is greater than your comfort. Every promise you keep to yourself builds trust within your own mind. Over time, that trust becomes confidence, and that confidence becomes an unshakable way of living that no temporary emotion can ever take away. There is a silent lie that keeps countless people trapped for years. It whispers that you must feel ready before you begin. It tells you that someday you will wake up with complete confidence, unlimited energy, and absolute certainty. On that day, you believe you will finally start writing the book, building the business, changing your habits, repairing your relationships, or pursuing the life you truly desire. Until then, you wait. You convince yourself that preparation is progress, that thinking is enough, and that tomorrow will somehow make the first step easier. But tomorrow arrives carrying the same doubts as yesterday, and the cycle continues. The truth is that readiness is not something you discover. It is something you create through action. No one feels completely prepared before stepping into the unknown. Every meaningful journey begins with uncertainty. The first step always feels uncomfortable because your mind is leaving familiar ground. It wants guarantees before it moves. It wants proof that success is possible before it risks failure. Yet life has never worked that way. The path only becomes visible after you begin walking. Think about a child learning to walk. The child does not wait until balance is perfect before taking the first step. There is no complete confidence, no flawless technique, no certainty of success. There are only repeated attempts, frequent falls, and the willingness to stand up again. Each stumble teaches the body something new. Each step builds strength. Eventually, what once seemed impossible becomes natural. Imagine if that child waited until feeling completely ready. The first step would never happen. Many adults unknowingly adopt the opposite mindset. They believe they must eliminate every fear before taking action. They spend months planning, researching, and imagining every possible outcome. Planning has value, but planning without action slowly becomes another form of avoidance. It creates the comforting illusion of progress while protecting you from the discomfort of actually beginning. The longer you delay, the larger the challenge appears. What once seemed like a small step eventually feels like an impossible mountain. Fear grows strongest in stillness. When you remain inactive, your imagination fills the empty space with doubts. Your mind begins creating stories about failure, rejection, embarrassment, and disappointment. It magnifies every obstacle until they seem greater than your abilities. But the moment you move, something remarkable happens. Reality replaces imagination. Problems become specific instead of mysterious. You stop fighting invisible fears and start solving real challenges, one at a time. Action has a unique power that thinking alone can never provide. It creates evidence. Every small task you complete sends a message to your mind that says, I am capable. Confidence does not appear before action. Confidence is the reward for repeated action. Every completed workout makes the next workout easier. Every conversation you were afraid to have strengthens your courage. Every page you write makes the blank page less intimidating. The feeling of readiness is built one decision at a time. Many people believe successful individuals possess extraordinary confidence from the beginning. In reality, they simply became comfortable acting before confidence arrived. They understood that waiting for fear to disappear would keep them standing still forever. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing to move despite fear. The greatest opportunities often exist just beyond the point where comfort ends. If you refuse to leave your comfort zone until you feel completely safe, you will never experience the growth that only uncertainty can provide. Life will rarely present perfect conditions. There will always be reasons to postpone your dreams. You may not have enough money, enough experience, enough support, enough knowledge, or enough certainty. If you wait for every condition to become perfect, you are waiting for a moment that does not exist. Progress belongs to those who begin with what they have, where they are, and improve along the way. Excellence is rarely the starting point. It is almost always the destination reached through imperfect beginnings. Every decision to act weakens the grip of hesitation. Every small victory teaches your mind that discomfort is temporary and growth is possible. Over time, the habit of taking action becomes stronger than the habit of waiting. You stop asking yourself whether you feel ready, because you understand that readiness follows movement. You stop seeking permission from your emotions because your commitment becomes greater than your hesitation. The first step may be uncertain, awkward, and imperfect, but it is infinitely more powerful than standing still with perfect intentions. Because a single action has the ability to transform not only your circumstances, but also the person you become with every step forward. Every person has moments when they feel unstoppable. They wake up full of energy, determined to change their lives. They promise themselves that this time they will stay consistent. They create long to-do lists, make ambitious plans, and imagine a future where every goal has been achieved. For a few days, everything seems to flow naturally. They exercise, eat healthier, study harder, wake up earlier, and remain focused. Then, slowly, the excitement fades. The energy that once felt limitless begins to disappear, and the habits they started with such enthusiasm begin to break apart. They assume they have lost their motivation, when in reality, they have built their progress on emotion instead of routine. Emotions are unpredictable. Some days you feel confident, energetic, and optimistic. Other days you feel tired, distracted, frustrated, or discouraged without even knowing why. If your actions are controlled by these emotional changes, then your progress will rise and fall like the weather. One productive week may be followed by 2 weeks of inactivity. One inspired morning may be followed by days of excuses. This cycle leaves many people wondering why they never seem to reach their full potential. Habits work differently. A habit does not require excitement to exist. It removes the constant negotiation that takes place inside your mind. Instead of asking yourself every morning whether you feel like exercising, you simply exercise because it has become part of your daily rhythm. Instead of debating whether today is the right day to study, you sit down and begin because that is what you always do. The decision has already been made. Your emotions no longer have the authority to change your commitment. This is one of the greatest forms of freedom. Many people believe freedom means doing whatever they feel like doing. But living according to every passing emotion often creates chaos rather than freedom. Real freedom comes when your future is no longer controlled by temporary feelings. Habits protect you from the emotional storms that would otherwise push you off course. They become an anchor when your mind is filled with doubt and uncertainty. Consider a river flowing through solid rock. It does not carve its path because it is powerful for one day. It shapes the landscape because it flows continuously, day after day, year after year. Its strength lies in repetition. Human transformation follows the same principle. A single extraordinary effort cannot replace hundreds of ordinary actions performed consistently. Reading 10 pages every day will eventually become more valuable than reading an entire book once and never opening another. Walking for 30 minutes every day will create greater health than one exhausting workout, followed by weeks of inactivity. Small actions repeated without interruption become stronger than occasional bursts of intense effort. The mind naturally resists anything that feels difficult or unfamiliar. When every action requires a new decision, the mind searches for excuses to avoid discomfort. It says you can start tomorrow, rest today, or wait until you feel more prepared. Habits silence those arguments because repetition reduces resistance. What once required great effort eventually becomes automatic. You no longer waste mental energy deciding whether to act. You simply act. This is why lasting success often appears less dramatic than people expect. Behind every remarkable achievement are countless ordinary moments that nobody applauds. The writer sits down to write even when the words come slowly. The athlete trains even when the body feels heavy. The musician practices the same notes repeatedly, long after the excitement of learning has disappeared. Their greatness is not created by extraordinary moments of inspiration. It is built through ordinary habits that continue regardless of mood. Many people underestimate the power of small improvements because the results are invisible at first. Missing one workout does not immediately weaken your body. Reading one chapter does not instantly make you wiser. Saving a small amount of money does not create wealth overnight. Because the changes are gradual, they seem insignificant. Yet habits work like planting seeds beneath the ground. For a long time, nothing appears to happen. Then one day, growth becomes impossible to ignore. The roots were developing long before anyone could see the tree. Every habit also shapes your identity. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, you send your mind a powerful message about who you are. When you consistently choose discipline over comfort, you begin seeing yourself as someone who follows through. That identity becomes stronger with every repeated action. Eventually, you no longer need external motivation because your habits reflect the kind of person you have become. The goal is not to create a perfect routine from the very beginning. Perfection often leads to frustration because it demands too much too soon. A habit only needs to be repeated consistently enough to become part of your life. Even the smallest action has value when it is performed every day. One page read, one healthy meal chosen, one honest conversation, one focused hour of work. These simple actions may appear insignificant in isolation, but over months and years, they quietly reshape your character, strengthen your discipline, and build a life that no passing emotion could ever create. Most people believe their greatest obstacles exist somewhere outside of themselves. They think success depends on having more money, better opportunities, stronger connections, or perfect circumstances. They spend years trying to control everything around them, while ignoring the one thing that determines how they respond to every challenge: their own mind. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world. It is against the voice inside you that constantly questions your ability, feeds your fear, and persuades you to choose comfort over growth. Your mind is incredibly powerful, but it is not always your ally. Left untrained, it follows the easiest path. It seeks pleasure, avoids discomfort, and resists anything that demands patience or discipline. It whispers that one more hour of sleep will not matter, that one missed workout is harmless, that one delay will make no difference. These thoughts seem small, almost insignificant, but repeated often enough, they shape your habits, your character, and eventually your entire life. Every great dream has been quietly abandoned because someone listened to that voice one too many times. The danger is that the mind can make excuses sound like wisdom. It can convince you that waiting is being responsible, that procrastination is careful planning, or that fear is simply realism. It creates stories that protect your comfort while stealing your future. If you never question these stories, they become your reality. You begin believing that your limits are permanent when, in truth, many of them exist only because your mind has accepted them. Asserting your mind does not mean eliminating negative thoughts. Every human being experiences fear, doubt, frustration, and uncertainty. Even the strongest individuals have moments when they question themselves. The difference is not the absence of these thoughts. The difference is refusing to obey them. A disciplined mind understands that thoughts are not commands. They are simply mental events that come and go. You can notice them without allowing them to control your actions. Imagine standing beside a busy road. Cars continue passing in both directions. You see each one, but you do not chase every vehicle that appears. Thoughts should be treated the same way. Some thoughts deserve attention, while others should simply pass without reaction. If you chase every fearful thought, every negative emotion, and every impulse to quit, your life becomes scattered and unstable. But when you learn to observe without immediately reacting, you create space between your emotions and your decisions. That space is where true self-control begins. Many people focus entirely on changing external results while ignoring their internal condition. They want better health, but refuse to develop self-control around food. They want financial success, but struggle to control impulsive spending. They want peaceful relationships, but cannot manage their own anger or pride. They want extraordinary achievements, while allowing ordinary distractions to dominate their attention. External victories become difficult when internal discipline is missing, because every action begins as a decision inside the mind. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. If your mind constantly wanders toward comparison, resentment, worry, or endless distractions, your energy becomes fragmented. Modern life offers countless opportunities to lose control of your attention. Endless notifications, social media, entertainment, and constant stimulation compete for every moment of silence. Without realizing it, many people spend their days reacting instead of choosing. They allow the outside world to dictate what they think about, how they feel, and where they invest their energy. A trained mind protects its attention carefully. It understands that focus is a skill developed through practice. It learns to return to what truly matters instead of being pulled in every direction by temporary distractions. Every time you resist the urge to check your phone while working, every time you remain calm during criticism, every time you choose patience over anger, you strengthen your ability to lead your own mind instead of being led by it. This inner mastery also changes the way you experience failure. An uncontrolled mind interprets failure as proof of inadequacy. It immediately begins creating stories about why you should stop trying. A disciplined mind sees failure differently. It recognizes mistakes as information rather than identity. Instead of asking, "Why am I not good enough?" it asks, "What can I learn from this?" This shift transforms setbacks from obstacles into teachers. The event remains the same, but the meaning changes because the mind has changed. When your mind becomes steady, the outside world loses much of its power over you. Praise no longer makes you arrogant, and criticism no longer destroys your confidence. Success does not make you careless, and failure does not make you hopeless. You become less dependent on circumstances because your strength comes from within rather than from what happens around you. Every challenge becomes another opportunity to practice patience, clarity, discipline, and courage until the greatest victory is no longer reaching your destination, but becoming the kind of person whose mind remains calm, focused, and unshaken regardless of the path ahead. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must decide what kind of individual they want to become. Not what they want to achieve, not what they hope to possess, but who they choose to be. Goals are important, but goals can change. Circumstances can change. Opportunities can appear and disappear. Identity, however, becomes the foundation beneath everything else. When you become the kind of person who acts regardless of how you feel, no obstacle can permanently stop your progress, because your actions are no longer controlled by temporary emotions. Many people define themselves by their intentions. They say they want to become healthier, more successful, more disciplined, or more confident. They genuinely believe these things. But intentions alone do not shape character. Character is revealed through repeated action. Every day, life quietly asks a simple question. Will you do what you promised yourself, even when no one is watching? Your answer to that question determines who you are becoming far more than any words you speak. It is easy to act when everything feels perfect. It is easy to work hard when people encourage you, when results come quickly, and when your energy is high. Almost anyone can remain committed during those moments. But life is not measured by what you do on your best days. It is measured by how you respond on your hardest days. The mornings when your body feels heavy, the evenings when your mind is exhausted, the moments when disappointment fills your heart. Those are the moments that shape your identity. Every time you choose action instead of excuses, you strengthen the person you are becoming. The greatest transformation happens quietly. It does not announce itself with dramatic victories or instant success. Instead, it grows through small decisions repeated over and over again. Choosing to wake up when the alarm rings instead of pressing snooze. Choosing to study instead of scrolling through endless distractions. Choosing to have difficult conversations instead of avoiding them. Choosing to continue after failure instead of giving up. These decisions may seem insignificant on their own, but together they create an identity that becomes stronger than circumstance. Your mind is always watching what you do. Every action becomes evidence. When you repeatedly break promises to yourself, your mind begins believing that your words have little value. Confidence slowly disappears, because confidence is built through trust, and trust begins with keeping your own commitments. On the other hand, every time you follow through despite discomfort, you send yourself a different message. You prove that your decisions are stronger than your emotions. Over time, this creates a quiet confidence that does not depend on praise, luck, or external validation. Many people spend years searching for the perfect strategy, the ideal schedule, or the secret that successful individuals possess. Yet the real difference often lies in something much simpler. Successful people stop negotiating with themselves. They do not spend an hour debating whether they should begin. They have already decided who they are. Because the decision has already been made, action follows naturally. They understand that every negotiation with comfort weakens discipline, while every immediate action strengthens it. Imagine an old tree standing in the middle of a storm. Powerful winds push against its branches, heavy rain falls without mercy, and the sky grows dark. Yet the tree remains rooted, because its strength was built long before the storm arrived. Human character develops in the same way. If your discipline only exists when life is comfortable, it will disappear the moment difficulty arrives. But if you have spent years strengthening your principles through consistent action, challenges may bend you, but they will not break you. There will always be reasons to stop. There will always be unexpected setbacks, moments of failure, criticism from others, and doubts within yourself. The world will never run out of excuses. If you depend on perfect conditions, your dreams will remain permanently postponed. But when you become someone who acts regardless, every obstacle becomes part of your training rather than a reason to quit. You begin seeing discomfort as a necessary companion on the path to growth instead of something to avoid. This way of living also brings an unexpected kind of peace. You stop wasting energy arguing with yourself every day. You no longer need constant inspiration because your purpose becomes greater than your mood. You stop asking whether today feels like the right day because every day becomes an opportunity to honor the person you have chosen to become. Whether progress is fast or slow, whether others notice your effort or not, your commitment remains unchanged because it no longer depends on external rewards. The most remarkable people are rarely those with the greatest talent or the most favorable circumstances. They are the ones who quietly continue when others stop. They understand that greatness is not created through occasional moments of brilliance, but through ordinary acts of consistencies, performed with extraordinary commitment. Day after day, choice after choice, they become living proof that lasting success belongs not to those who wait for the perfect feeling, but to those who have trained themselves to move forward with purpose, discipline, and unwavering resolve, regardless of what their emotions happen to say on any given day.